بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We still have a few rules pertaining to Taraweeh, which we started 2 days ago. As I mentioned, that the Taraweeh Salah is a sunnat, but Taraweeh only follows the farz of Isha. So if you didn't make your Isha Salah, you cannot make Taraweeh Salah. It comes after the farz. Therefore, if a person comes to the masjid for Taraweeh, for Isha, and the farz has been done in the masjid, the farz Jamaat is finished, then he cannot join Taraweeh Salah. He must first make his 4 farz of Isha, then join the Taraweeh. If he missed rakats, as I mentioned, these rakats can be made up after the Witr Salah. If that person joins the Taraweeh Salah without making his farz of Isha, those rakats will not be counted as Taraweeh. It will just go down as Nafil. And of course, we know that the farz comes before the Nafil Salah, so that's more important. And then we also mentioned that missed Taraweeh Salah, missed Taraweeh rakats can be made up after the Witr. So even if a person never made the Taraweeh at all, you made your Isha Salah, and you made your Sunnahs, and you read the Witr Salah, then you can still make the Taraweeh after the Witr. Because remember we said the time of Taraweeh, it lasts till Subh Sadiq, the next morning. So the whole night you've got time to make the Taraweeh Salah. Now we have, it's very common nowadays where the Hufaz, to make the Khatam of Quran, they make Taraweeh in different venues, maybe in Musalla, Jamaat Khanas. So those who are near a masjid, they should make their Farz Salah in the masjid and then go to the venue where they are making their Taraweeh Salah. If they are far distance from the masjid, then they can make the Isha Salah there where they are making their Taraweeh. And of course it must be made in Jamaat. A person who never made his Isha with Jamaat, like we come back to the example, a man came to the masjid, Isha Salah was finished, so he made his Isha on his own. So he can join the Taraweeh Jamaat. He can join people who are making Taraweeh. But such a person cannot be an Imam for Taraweeh. So if it is a Hafiz of the Quran, you might have 3-4 Huffaz making Taraweeh, and one of them came late, he never made his Isha with Jamaat, then he can't be the Imam. So the condition for being an Imam in Taraweeh Salah is that you must make your Isha with Jamaat. So what we advise such a person, if the Hafiz came late and the Isha was over, you can get another person to join him, because you can make behind, if you made your Isha, you can make behind another person. That will be Nafil Salah. So he gets one of the Muqtadis to join him, and he makes a Jamaat of Isha at the back of the masjid. Then he can be the Imam, he can stand in front and read his portion in the Taraweeh Salah. A person made the Isha Salah and then he made Taraweeh as well. And afterwards he discovered that there was something wrong with the Isha Salah. Maybe I never had wudu, or there was a mistake that was made. Sometimes in your qiraat you make such a mistake that changes the meaning. Then the Salah has to be repeated. So he discovered that the Isha Salah was nullified for some reason. Then he has to make the Isha and the Taraweeh over. The Taraweeh won't be counted, because remember we say Isha, the Taraweeh follows your Isha Salah. It is like subject to Isha. Without Isha, there is no Taraweeh. So if the Isha wasn't valid, he must repeat the Isha and the Taraweeh Salah. And if he made the Witr also in that state, or maybe he never had wudu, then he must repeat the Witr as well. But there's one slight difference here, which I will mention. Let's say a person made the Isha Salah, and the mistake was not, the Isha was not nullified because he never had wudu. It was nullified because he made a mistake in the qiraat, which changed the meaning. Like Allah says in the Quran Karim, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أولئك هم خير البرية. So he read أولئك هم شر البرية, which means that the people of Iman, they are the worst of the creation. Na'uzu billah. So you change the meaning completely. So that salah, if the mistake is not rectified in the first or the second rakat, the salah is batil, it is nullified. So then he discovered that the Isha was nullified for this reason. So the Isha must be repeated and the Taraweeh salah, but not the witr. Because the witr was valid, witr is a separate salah. It's not related to the Taraweeh salah. And then okay, I did mention here that if you missed a few rakats of Taraweeh, then you rather make it up after the witr. You can do it at home. You don't need to make it in Jamaat form. You will make it individually on your own at home. Now, what we must also realize, a lot of people may be not aware of this. The actual or the ideal time for Taraweeh is Tahajjud time. That is the best time for Taraweeh Salah. So if a person is making his Taraweeh on his own, yes, one more thing I must mention, that Taraweeh Salah in the masjid, the Jamaat in the masjid, is what we call Sunnat Mu'akkada al Kifaya. What this means is that if some people fulfill the Sunnat, the rest of the community will be free of that responsibility. So people can make their Jamaats on their own in Jamaat Khana at home, as long as there is a group making the Taraweeh Salah in the masjid. And even you can make your Taraweeh Salah individually. Maybe there's a Hafiz of the Quran who wants to read his entire Quran, and I encourage the Huffaz. I was surprised to hear the other day that one masjid, they've got 7 Huffaz. So one Hafiz is reading 2 rakats. That is actually a joke. You're reading you're Hafiz of the Quran and you're reading 2 rakats Taraweeh Salah. So I can't understand, is it because everyone wants to read in the masjid, you want to stand in front? The purpose of the Taraweeh is to make your khatam. If a person is a Hafiz of the Quran, I advise such a person to make your Taraweeh on your own and read the full 20 rakats, make your own khatam. That is an achievement, and also it makes your Quran strong. Whatever Quran you read and you memorize and you learn in Ramadan, it remains in your heart, it remains for long. There is special barakat in tilawat of Quran in the month of Ramadan. So I was saying that if a person makes Taraweeh on his own, that is also valid. We find there were some of the Tabi'een, they used to make the Isha Salah in the masjid, and then they go home and they make their own Taraweeh and they make 3 khatams in Ramadan. So 3 paras a night they would read. Now obviously, you can only do this if you are making alone. You have muqtadis, people will get tired. Now those are some basic rules pertaining to Taraweeh. One more thing I must mention, inshallah we'll discuss the rules of Ramadan as you go further, the fasting. A common thing with us is when we're making our own khatam of the Quran, people reading, some people read half para a day, quarter para, whatever. So now Ramadan comes and you haven't yet made your khatam. So you don't start a new khatam. Some people will stop now, they'll put a marker there, say this I'll carry on after Ramadan. And Ramadan starts, I'll read from Alif Lam Mim. You don't do that. Proper way is to complete your khatam. Carry on, and you'll get the sawab of making a khatam in Ramadan. So if you did 15 paras before Ramadan, now Ramadan enters, continue, read the other 15, and then when you finish that, you continue with your next khatam. And as I said, you'll get the sawab of reading, making a khatam in Ramadan, although you started it before Ramadan. Allah Ta'ala grant tawfiq.